from the station working for you. This is WRTV News at 6, streaming now.
It makes you question your position in this country and also your position in the community. And very difficult.
Shockwaves at home after an Atlanta attack leaves 6 Asian American women dead.
Not the first instance of this kind of violence.
There's been this, basically a year-long dramatic spike in reported, basically anti-Asian racism, hate crimes, discrimination.
Bringing up local memories of past racism leading to terrible things.
Not a lot of people in Indiana and not a lot of new students coming into IU learn about that or is aware about that tragedy.
And those attacks are highlighting a sad reality for Asian Americans across the country.
We're told by people in those communities here in Indiana, the pandemic has accentuated racism and intolerance that has always been below the surface.
Our Alyssa Donovan explains how the Atlanta shooting reminded one woman of a racially charged murder that happened right here in Indiana.
I was really shocked, and I'm still. There are no words to describe how I feel.
When Melanie Castillo-Cullither heard that 6 women of Asian descent were among the victims in the Atlanta spa shooting on Tuesday, it was more than just heartbreak. Because
this just brought back memories of a time in Indiana, in our campus at Indiana University in 1999.
To this very moment.
Won Jun, he was kind, generous, and caring to everyone he met in his community. But he was gunned down by one insane, full of racial hatred, young American man.
It really brought back a very vivid memory of the student was singled out because he was Asian and he was murdered by a white supremacist.
Castillo-Cullither, who is the director of the Asian Culture Center at Indiana University, had been working at the school for only 6 months at the time of the murder. The Atlanta attack showing her that not much has changed since then when it comes to the way her community is viewed.
And it made me think that we've never really moved the needle if that pervasive anti-Asian racism and anti-Asian hostility. It's still there.
She says, if anything, the pandemic has added to the problems that were already there.
When the old administration, the former president, started calling COVID as Kung Flu and that it was a Chinese virus, that really had consequences. And that was basically the start of how students felt like uncomfortable and also felt afraid.
Studies show hate crimes against Asian Americans have increased significantly over the last year in major cities across the country. Incidents have also been reported in the Hoosier State. Groups like the Indiana chapter of the National Asian Pacific Women's Forum are trying to make a change.
We had come out with this petition actually about a week before the incidents in Atlanta,
collecting nearly 2,000 signatures asking Governor Eric Holcomb to condemn and combat racism against Indiana's Asian American communities. The governor signed a bias crime law back in 2019 to protect those who are targets of these crimes. However, the group hopes to get more proactive measures in place to protect the Asian American population in our state.
So we came up with this petition as a way to really amplify and bring awareness to what was happening, but also at the same time to suggest concrete community-based actions.
We want to make sure that Indiana is not going to be one of those places that have this kind of tragedy. We already had one in 1999. Let's not have it again.
I'm Alyssa Donovan, WRTV.
Indiana University's Asian Culture Center has also attached resources to their website to help students. The director says they've heard from students that they have felt targeted by their peers since the pandemic. And Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett released this statement on the issue today, saying he was appalled at the attacks in Georgia, which come on the heels of a year in which Asian immigrants and Asian Americans have endured hateful rhetoric, accusations, and actions. He says, quote, "Diversity is our strength, and we aim to lift up and support our residents of Asian descent in every neighborhood. Whether you're from our thriving Burmese population or belong to other Asian communities in our city, we stand with you."
Images and video from inside the NCAA tournaments have drawn a lot of attention, showing the incredibly different treatment and amenities the men's and women's teams are getting this week. The men's weight room is fully outfitted versus a small set of dumbbells for the women. They've also gotten wildly different food selections and swag bags. WRTV has worked to look into issues where inclusion and equity need a focus. Tonight, our Megan Sanctorum is doing just that.
I got something to show y'all.
This is the video that's getting a lot of attention on social media.
So for the NCAA March Madness, the biggest tournament in college basketball for women, this is our weight room. Let me show y'all the men's weight room.
A sophomore on the University of Oregon women's basketball team named Sedona Prince made the video. She posted it online, and it has more than 8 million views.
At first, I thought it was a joke.
That's Kate Todd. She's the president of the Indiana Coaches of Girls Sports Association. She played college softball and has coached at the middle school, high school, and college level. She tells me she's never experienced anything like what's shown in these photos.
I do feel like Indiana, the IHSAA, athletic administrators across Indiana have done a really great job with Title IX, with taking care of female athletes, with equality. When I was at USI, our facilities were gorgeous. At Indiana University, our facilities, our baseball facility and softball facility were right next to each other, and they were equal and gorgeous, and I had never seen anything quite like this.
But she's glad to see these female athletes taking a stand and setting an example for younger girls across the country.
They're going to see, to stand up for themselves, or they're going to see. Some of them may see what they have and be super appreciative for it. Some of them may see, maybe there's some things in our weight room we can fight for.
And she says fans need to do their part as well.
We need to follow them. We need to go to games. We need to buy tickets. As sports fans, we need to buy their apparel. We need to follow them on social media. We need to follow their accolades and retweet what they're doing. We need to make sure that we're supporting our female athletes as fans. We need to be there for them every day, not just when things are bad.
Working for you, Megan Sanctorum, WRTV.
And right now, blue, as you can see on the state's COVID map, is the color to be in Indiana. Another week and more counties are at the lowest advisory level for COVID activity. And while we're not seeing numbers in the thousands anymore, we're still riding a plateau of hundreds of Hoosiers testing positive with the virus on a daily basis. New deaths are also reported each day, adding to the heavy toll on mental and emotional health. And as Hoosiers deal with grief and loss from this past year, the Behavioral Health Department at Community Health Network is seeing an increase in suicidal attempts and people dealing with anxiety. Our Nicole Griffin shares important takeaways for those who have been isolated this past year and may be in a dark space.
People are struggling. People are having a hard time.
Vanessa Enos knows the feeling of loss that the COVID-19 pandemic has brought to so many.
We've lost 500,000 people or more. I'm one of those people. I lost my grandmother at the beginning of this.
She's the program manager at Community Fairbanks Behavioral Health, where they not only support community members, but also the nurses and doctors within Community Health Network on the front lines.
I think there will be some PTSD from just that constant exposure to death and unpredictability and heartache.
Enos says isolation has been a huge factor for many during the pandemic.
I haven't seen my kids since Christmas.
David Jones had COVID-19 almost a year ago.
I've also been dealing with MS. My T-shirt says, "God only gives us what we can handle." And apparently God thinks I'm a superhero.
He says what's kept him lifted during the pandemic is being able to connect with friends and family through technology.
No matter how bad things get, there are others that have it worse. I mean, because I'm going through the COVID thing, I'm going through the isolation thing, but, I've got family and friends available, and not everyone has that.
According to the Behavioral Health Department at Community Health Network, within the last year, there has been a 300% increase in the call volume to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. Eno says it's important during this time to connect with your loved ones.
Reach out safely to whomever you have as a support in your life, whether that's a phone call, a text message, connect.
Working for you, Nicole Griffin, WRTV.
Community Health Network's Behavioral Health Department says it is also important to talk to your kids about their feelings during the pandemic. And on days like today, when the sun is out, take some time to get outside and find a safe activity to enjoy. Kevin, it was definitely nice to get outside today.
And you've got the green light because of the blue sky. Again, during the day tomorrow and on the Sunday, sunshine will dominate. Now, with skies clear, that sets the stage tonight for our temperatures to drop into the 20s. It will be a cool start. Right now, we're at 46 in Castleton, 47 in Greenwood, Martinsville down in Morgan County, also in the upper 40s. It's been a cool day because of a east-northeast wind that's still been strong. Coolest northeast portions of the state, warmer to the southwest. What's happening in Evansville will be transported into central Indiana during the day tomorrow. Spotless sky, again, as the wind calms down tonight. Watch these temperatures drop from the middle to upper 40s where we're at now to around 40 by 11 o'clock and then in the upper 20s. That's the way we start our weekend, which includes the official arrival of spring. We'll talk about how we finish it off strong coming up. Mark?
Kevin, thank you. Still ahead tonight, we take you inside the outside party happening in the Bottle Works district for March Madness. How organizers have worked to keep the B-Ball Bash safe for you.
Two brothers from two very different teams, but both coming back home to Indiana for the NCAA tournament. Coming up in sports, Bryce and Scott Drew are Hoosiers through and through. We take a closer look at how their dad shaped each coach's style.
Everyone has a little hoops hysteria fever right now, so get in on the fun with our WRTV tournament trivia. Here is today's question. We are going way back. Indiana University's first NCAA championship in 1940 began with 2 wins at which Indianapolis venue? The answer for you on the other side of this break.
$5.55 to get started.
Welcome back. It is WRTV Tournament Trivia time. Here is our question today. IU's first NCAA championship in 1940 began with 2 wins at which Indianapolis venue? It was Butler Fieldhouse, which is now, of course, known as Hinkle Fieldhouse. Here's a picture provided by Indiana University of that 1940 IU squad. At Butler Fieldhouse, the Hoosiers defeated Springfield and then beat Duquesne. Now the NCAA tournament is in full swing, and so is WRTV Tournament Trivia.
Brad, thank you. The Bottle Works district is ready for a weekend of March Madness fun as downtown comes to life for the NCAA tournament. It is the first ever Bottle Works B-Ball Bash. Free, family-friendly with games and lots of monitors for you watch the big action as college teams play all weekend. Organizers were particularly excited. It is the first major indoor-outdoor event that they're hosting in the Bottle Works district.
People are just going to be comfortable and getting out and being in the street. We've blocked off Carrollton. And so we are just excited to introduce the garage to people that may not have been down here.
Showing games, kind of hanging out outside. We've got everything spaced out, as you can see. Obviously, we recognize that we are still in a situation where things need to be spaced out. That's kind of why we decided to do this event outside. We felt like that gave us the best path to safety.
The party is happening tonight, Saturday and Sunday from noon to 9 each day.
And it's so exciting that we've got this weather to greet everyone that's in town and those businesses trying to get some outside activities going will have the green light. Well, it's okay. Go ahead and stare at the sun as you look west of White River in the Indianapolis Zoo and beyond the JW. Skies are clear, and we'll see more of that. Clear nights, sunny days through Monday. Temperatures progressively warmer. Today was our coolest in the 7-day forecast, and we take a nice step each of the next 3 days. Taming the wind will be a big deal and make it feel that much more enjoyable during the day tomorrow. The wind will generally be 10 miles per hour or less. Don't set your alarm clock. Just know when you wake up, spring will officially be here. 5:37 a.m. is when it arrives, to lots of sunshine, but we'll be sitting in the 20s in the morning. We're in the upper 40s in Indy now, 51 in Terre Haute and Bedford. Temperature go north along the Wabash River from Terre Haute and you end up in Lafayette, and the temperature is 51 there. 28 tonight, clear sky, the wind calming down. Temperatures tomorrow jump into the 50s. We take the next jump on a Sunday, and both days the wind should be under 10 miles per hour. That's quite the climb tomorrow, from the upper 20s to middle, maybe upper 50s in spots. The wind over the weekend goes from east, southeast to eventually south on Sunday. That will take our temperatures that easily climb into the middle to upper 50s tomorrow and push those up and over the 60-degree mark on the Sunday. Second half of the weekend, we start warmer, we end warmer. 34 at 7 a.m., 63 for the afternoon high temperature. 54 is average for this time of year. We'll eke out another dry day Monday. Then our chance for some rain, maybe thunderstorms Tuesday. Right now, 20% on Wednesday. It's all about timing when you get that far out, so that may shift a little bit, but let's just say that it becomes a little more unsettled, a euphemism for a chance for rain and some thunderstorms Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And even when we cool down next week, we're cooling down from the mid-60s to around 60 Thursday, and then 58 or so on Friday. And overnight lows are back into the middle to upper 40s instead of the upper 20s. Have a great weekend. Enjoy. Amanda?
Hey, we gotta have a good weekend with temps like that. And it's been a big week leading up to an even bigger weekend across the Hoosier State. It's bringing some old faces back for new stories. Here's WRTV Sports' Brad Brown.
Friday of the first round at the NCAA tournament, we are getting inside Lucas Oil Stadium for the first time. Of course, this will be the end of the road to the Final Four with the national championship game on April 5th. But this weekend, it's hosting 6 first-round games, including Purdue getting set to tip off just about an hour from now when they take on North Texas. The early game here today saw the top seed Baylor moving on to the second round. The Bears are coached by Scott Drew from Valparaiso. His brother, Bryce, from Valparaiso, is also in the tourney field this year, and both of those coaches draw a great deal of experience from their father, Homer, from Valparaiso as well. We take a look at the Drew family coming back home to Indiana for the NCAA tournament in tonight's Sports Extra Spotlight.